When the tax bill comes due, some may wonder how this money is utilized, leaving the question, what exactly do my property taxes pay for? Let's start with the overview of your property tax bill. Property tax rates are not yet set for this year, so we're going to use the 2022 tax rates here. Like many communities, a majority of taxes go to the school district. 20% of your bill goes to other taxing entities, such as the fire department, the hospital, the library, county road and bridge repairs, of which I will note the city gets a portion, the sheltered workshop, and the state of Missouri. Then 16% of your tax bill is provided to the city of Pleasant Hill. In this budget year, we are expecting $1.7 million in revenue from property taxes. That may seem like a lot, but it only represents 12% of our total budget. If I take out the utility section, it represents 25% of our non-utility budgets. Utilizing the median home value of approximately $186,000, the taxes that come to the city of Pleasant Hill in real and personal property taxes are around $550. Half of that portion goes to debt to pay for previously completed projects. The remaining half pay for basic services. Operationally, we utilize 4 tax levies: parks, roads, public health, and general. Each is required to stay separate and for their own use, except for general. It can go anywhere. Looking at the park levy, it's utilized for maintenance of our parkland. We have over 200 acres of parkland and more than 14 parks, trails, and the city lake. We also have the swimming pool and sports field maintenance. You may also remember that we do this work with only 4 full-time staff members and part-time seasonals, and that's really only 2 full-time maintenance staff members. This levy generates just under $100,000 per year and represents about 13% of the park budget. The levy is not enough to cover the cost of the park utility budget and even our insurance coverage. Roadway maintenance is important to a large majority of our community. We have a dedicated tax for it, but did you know that property taxes for roads alone are only 10% of this department's budget? The city maintains about 100 lane miles, and the levy generates about $180,000. That's not even half of the amount of money that we put into our roadway maintenance program. And that's barely more than we pay for the funding of our streetlights. The public health levy is one that is only available to a select number of cities in Missouri, and we're one of them. It can be utilized for any public health need that we see. Here, we utilize it to fund animal control operations and code enforcement as it relates to maintaining sanitary conditions and preventing rodent harborage. We generate just shy, again, of that $100,000 from this tax, and that's just about enough to pay for our animal control services. And finally, the general levy, which is the most flexible and can be used to fund any of our government operations. It can even be transferred to other funds if needed. We receive about $500,000 in our general levy, but that isn't even enough to cover 1/3 of our police department's personnel budget. Then debt. Debt in government is exactly what you think it is. It's a loan. And there are multiple ways that governments can borrow money. A general obligation bond, also sometimes known as a GO bond, or sometimes some cities call it a GO bond. Often that one has the lowest interest rate because it's backed by property taxes and it requires voter approval. Debt in government isn't necessarily concerning. It's honestly a way to make long-term investments in the community while allowing taxpayers over time to pay for the improvements. It involves not only the taxpayers today, but also those in the future that will continue to reap the benefits of that improvement. You, as a taxpayer today, are likely paying for improvements you didn't even know about because they are now part of your everyday. The city has one GO bond, which was approved in 2005 and refinanced again in 2015 for a lower interest rate. GO bonds typically last between 20 and 30 years, and we are currently in our last few years of paying for this one as it ends in 2025. But did you know that the 2005 GO bond helped finance the city's match on the 7 highway widening from 2 lanes to 3 lanes? It was necessary for the city's growth as new commercial driveways were not going to be allowed unless that roadway was widened. The Pleasant Hill you see today would not be the same without the taxes that you pay in debt each year for that project. If this is your first video with us, check out our other one in the tax series about how property tax rates are set.